witches, Tiffany here with another episode of Bewitching.Bemused, and today we are covering everything that you need to know about using pendulums for divination. This episode was requested by Capt Kirky, and if you look at the little picture pop up, you'll notice that she said, how about a short little video? And well, we all know my videos are never short. I have a little bit of trouble being concise about things. Sorry in advance for the length of this video, but here it is. Thank you so much for the suggestion. It's a wonderful one, and those of you who are also interested in pendulums, please leave a thank you to Capt Kirky down below in the comments. Now, before we get going, I just wanted to announce that I am doing just a tiny giveaway. It's like nothing that fancy, but I just wanted to do something, to celebrate the fact that I've finally started adding printables to my Etsy shop, and to thank all of you wonderful viewers. Right now we're at 75 subscribers, which I'm really excited about. So the details on that giveaway will be at the very end of this video, so stay tuned for that. So, pendulums. They are a very simple and very useful divination tool that are used to give you yes or no answers. Well, most of my subscribers like this video. I think that's a pretty good yes. But of course, if you want to get a little bit more complicated with it, you can always use a pendulum board, also sometimes known as a scrying board or a dowsing board. Pendulums are extremely affordable. They're really easy to hide. For those of you that are in the broom closet, you can make them yourself. And they're great for travel, like just if you don't want to bring a full tarot deck with you or a big old Ouija board, and for quick, simple answers. For as simple as pendulums and their answers are, they can be used for a multitude of reasons. They can be used to find lost items, for spirit communication, insight into future decisions. I know I've used it before casting a certain spell to know if it's going to, have any negative consequences. And I've even gone so far as to use my pendulum to ask what I should make for dinner. I was still a bit of a skeptic about pendulums at that point. So, I mean, some people might find that a little bit disrespectful, but if you watched my July 2020 vlog that was published last week, you'll know that I recently used my pendulum in order to find this, my favorite ring, and it literally worked like a charm, although it was a little sassy with me at first. That's a thing that you'll probably notice with pendulums. Pendulums, they tend to have their own little personalities, and sometimes they get a little bit sassy, but it's not really something you have to worry about, because typically all you need to do, well, I gave mine like a stern talking to, but typically all you have to do is just cleanse it and reconnect with it again. So here is the main pendulum that I use. This was actually something that my sister bought for me. I think she just got it on Amazon. There you go, so you can see it better. It's just like a little amethyst crystal as the actual pendulum, but you notice it has a little point. That's typically how you're going to see them designed, but they're not always crystals. You'll also find ones that are made out of wood and metal, of course. Now, do you need a actual pendulum? Nope, not at all. All you need is anything that hangs from a chain or a string and has enough weight to not just be blown around easily by your breath or whatever. Something that's weighty enough for a good amount of sway. So I have oftentimes also used necklaces. I have this amethyst necklace here. Some people like to use just the chain like regular, or they'll detach it and kind of run right to the end there. And then I have this other one that I bought at Renaissance Fair that has, this one's really cool because it has little tiny vertebrae in there. Ethically sourced, don't worry. But I like it. It's a little bone necklace, and I'll often use that one as a pendulum as well. If you don't have a pendulum on hand and you want to go practice this right after watching this video, or maybe you are in the broom closet and living with people that don't know you're a witch, like I said, a necklace works great. You can also tie a ring to a piece of string. You can tie a key to a piece of string. String tied to the end of a pencil. Really just anything that is, like I said, fairly hefty, and something that's fairly balanced, because you don't want to take a chunky crystal and just tie a string around it, and then if you see that it's super lopsided in the weight, that's going to affect which way that it swings naturally. So just a little something to keep in mind. Now, how do they work? Well, a lot of people have different beliefs on this. Some believe it's deity, some believe it's spirits or ancestors, the fae, and I personally think it is only one of those things if you reach out to them and invite them in to communicate with you. By my opinion, what you're doing when you use a pendulum is tapping into your psychic subconscious, which of course we all have. So that natural power that you possess is then sending minute, like not even perceptible to the naked eye movement, electrical pulses down your arm and influencing the way that the pendulum swings. Now, if you do want to use it to contact spirits, ancestors, deity, whoever, just make sure you're doing that safely. Always cast a protective circle. Do whatever you got to do to be safe. Now, when picking out a pendulum, I know we're all tempted to just hop online and look for the prettiest thing that you can find, but I would recommend against that. I think it's okay if you're just looking for one that you can just start playing around with, but realistically what you want to do is go into a store that sells them and just play with them. Just touch them, hold them in your hands, kind of wait till you find one that you are feeling energy beaming off of, that you just connect with right away. And like I said, if you already have something at home that you connect to in that way, just tie some string to it. So once you've made your pendulum or brought it home, of course, you're gonna cleanse it. Any kind of cleansing will do. Run it under tap water, drop it in some salt, smoke cleanse it, hang it in front of, let it swing through a flame, whatever you feel like doing. Then after that, you want to get to know it. You want to connect with it. So a couple ways to do that is, you could stick it in your pocket and go for a hike. You can sit and meditate with it. You can breathe life into it, cup it in your hands, and I would recommend doing one of those things or your own version of those things, but then also just hold it in your hands and talk to it. I charge you with my own energy and my own life force and able to give you the power to provide me with accurate and truthful answers. As I will it, so shall it be. Something like that. Super simple. Speak from the heart and tell it what you want from it. So there's two different ways people tend to hold these. Some people like to hold them right from the very end, and some people like to loop it over their fingers. Please excuse my little nubby fingernail there. Hold it between the two fingers and shorten the chain. So they're just gripping the chain in their hand like that. Now, I don't know why I decided to film over here. This is kind of an awkward space for it. But I'm gonna put my elbow right here. You wanna keep your elbow rested because the last thing you want is for it to start jerking around just because your hand's floating here and your arm's getting tired. So rest your arm on some sort of comfortable flat surface. So we're gonna start with the most common way and the simplest way to use a pendulum, which is just on its own as is. You've cleansed it, connected with it, your elbow is rested, and you're just holding it still. So from here, what you're going to do is determine which way is yes and which way is no, because that's how you get your answers. If it swings in one direction, that's a yes or no, that's a yes. In another direction is going to be a no. Now, keep in mind that this can be different pendulum to pendulum. This can also be different from one pendulum could just decide, I'm going to switch things up today and just do it. So and like change it. So I recommend that every time you use your pendulum, you reset this and ask it again. And so what I would just say out loud, I would say it out loud the first time and then just repeat it in my mind afterwards. Just use my palm to still it. Is I would say, show me yes. And then I'm going to keep repeating that in my mind. I like to keep my hand here to kind of help feed it energy, but it's not necessary. Show me yes. So now we've got the yes, but we still want to make sure that it's not just that everything is clear. We're absolutely clear with what we're doing. So now we're still going to do the show me no. Same exact process. Show me no. Okay, so I think that's pretty clear. To and fro, so towards me and away from me is a yes, and left to right is going to be my no. So that's actually pretty typical with this pendulum. Usually, I want to say like 90% of the time when I use it, To and fro is a yes and back and forth is a no, but you always want to check just in case. So it's as simple as that. You get any yes or no answer from that, and of course, like with any divination tool, it's not the be all end all. If you ask it, will I die tomorrow, and it says yes, don't freak out. Just making that little disclaimer. Now, if you're working with your pendulum and it is like not moving at all, or it's like some random diagonal, or it's like swinging in a circle, you can pretty much take that as either an I don't know, you need to rephrase the question, something along those lines. And I'll get to why you might get one of those two answers in a minute. Typically what you need to do is just try rewording your question, but if it's just still acting weird, just give it another good cleanse and, you know, connect with it again. So now let's get a little bit more complicated and talk about using a pendulum with a scrying or pendulum or dowsing board. So I've actually designed some printable ones for you that you can purchase and download as a PDF. It's 3 different designs. Each one comes in both black on white and white on black. After you purchase them, just download the PDF and print off whichever ones you like. You can use them as is, put them in your book of shadows, Mod Podge them to a piece of wood. Hell, you can even just download them onto your tablet and lay your tablet flat and do it right on the screen. The link for it is in the description box down below, and this is also what I'm going to be giving away, which again, I'll describe the rules once we're done here. So now the way that these work, as you can probably put together here, is that the direction which it swings is the answer it's going to be. Now there are lots of different styles out there. I'm just going to show you the ones that I designed. You'll see yes, no, maybe, and rephrase. The reason I included maybe because that does kind of seem like a cop-out answer for your pendulum to give you, but sometimes it just means that the answer right now is unknown. There are still way too many variables and changing factors for it to give you a straightforward answer. So it's just like, I don't know. And if you get rephrased, that usually means that you've just worded it maybe in a little bit too much of a complex manner, or you've accidentally phrased your question not in the form of a yes or no. So in that way, it's going to tell you, hey, yo, rephrase this because I can't answer that. Typically on the more complicated boards, it's going to be in a full circle, and it'll have letters, numbers, days of the week, and zodiac signs. Some of them have other things like moon phases. It just really depends on who you're buying it from. Now, the way that you would typically use these circular ones is you would ask your question and then hold your pendulum above a specific, let's say you're doing the alphabet. You want a little bit more of a complex answer than just one word or a yes, no. Well, first you're gonna hold it over A. Ask your question, wait a few seconds. If it doesn't move in the affirmative, then you move on to B, and then C, and then whatever until you eventually get an affirmative, write down that letter, then move on, start from the beginning of the alphabet again, and move through it. Now, I designed this half circle one so you can still work with the alphabet, but we're just gonna simplify things a bit. So you would hold your pendulum over the center, ask your question, and then wait for it to start swinging. Now, sometimes you're gonna be sitting there going, I don't know if that's a G or an H, because they're right next to each other, or is that an A or a Z, because those are opposite of each other and it is swinging, you know, back and forth. Well, in those cases, I would just put G/H, next letter, A/Z, and then kind of decipher it later. Now, if you don't want to purchase one of these or another one online, or you're in the broom closet and if somebody found these, it would look bad, you can always design your own. Look at that, super simple. We're just gonna leave it at yes or no for now. So a couple of questions that you might have about using a board. One would be, hold up, does the pendulum read the board, or what's going on? How do they work together? Well, that's the thing, they are supposed to work together. You basically want to take your pendulum, tell it what you want like I showed earlier, and then you're going to place it on your board. And again, you're going to ask it to work with this board. Pendulum, you are to work with this board in giving me accurate and truthful answers. Read the board and provide me with the answers that I seek. Now, spend a little bit more time working with this one. You kind of have to, you know, introduce the two. And then do the same thing. Lift it up, keeping the tip on the board right in the center. And tell it again what you want it to do. Board and pendulum, you will work together in order to give me truthful and accurate answers. As I will it, so shall it be. And then boom, just start from there. I purposefully did it with the no being back and forth and the yes being from left to right, right to left, because that is the opposite of the way that my pendulum usually works, as we already saw today. Once you've introduced the board and the pendulum should alter its swing to match the board. So just like you would any other time you're using the pendulum, don't just rely on it automatically switching its directions for you. You need to ask it again. Show me a yes. Okay, so far so good. It's working with it. Show me a no. There we go. And like I said, most of the time, 90% of the time when I use this pendulum, towards me and away from me is a yes, left and right is a no. But it switched it up because I had connected it to this board. Now, if it's absolutely refusing to get along with the board, what you can try is just cleansing your pendulum again, connecting with it again, and connecting it to the board again. Okay, so if you have any questions about the use of pendulums or pendulum boards, please leave those in the comments below. But now let's get on to our giveaway rules. So like I said, it's just a small giveaway. The printables, they're $5 for all 6. So this isn't some like massive sweepstakes or anything, but I just thought it would be something that was kind of fun to do. So one of you is going to get the PDF of all 6 absolutely free. All you need to do is leave a comment below, either remarking on this video with a question about pendulums, or share a story, an interesting story, good, bad, fun, funny, sad, whatever, that you have about using a pendulum. I would really, really, really like to hear those. Make sure to leave those comments below in order to enter to win by next Tuesday, August 18th, because that morning at 8 a.m. I'm going to randomly select a winner. And that winner will be announced on next Wednesday's video on August 19th, of course, released at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, like every Wednesday. Thank you so much to Capt Kirky for this wonderful video suggestion. If you have a question or suggestion of your own for a video, something that you would like to see or learn about, please leave those in the comments below or shoot me an email. You can also get a hold of me on Instagram. Everything is at Bewitching.Bemused. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time.